Good morning from the Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. My name is Olga Mishenka, and I'm happy to welcome you at an international online conference organized by the USAID program, Decentralization, which brings better results.
Під час сьогоднішньої конференції ми обговоримо тему відновлення місцевої економіки. Як державна та місцева влада можуть підтримувати місцевий бізнес під час та після карантину. Наші учасники, представники органів центральної влади, органів місцевого самоврядування та експерти обговорять ініціативи, які допоможуть підтримати місцеву економіку та відновити економічні втрати внаслідок пандемії COVID-19. Також за сприяння наших партнерів, зокрема Європейського відділення Міжнародної асоціації менеджерів міст ICMA Europe, Польської фундації розвитку локальної демократії, програмою «Лід з Європою» та шведсько-українського проєкту з підтримки децентралізації в Україні SKL International, ми матимемо змогу поспілкуватися із представниками муніципалітетів та асоціацій органів місцевого самоврядування з інших країн Центрально-Східної Європи та країн Балтії. І дізнаємося, як іноземні колеги долають економічні наслідки пандемії. Ми щиро дякуємо усім, хто долучився до нас наразі до перегляду, і нагадую, що ви можете поставити запитання до спікерів у коментарях до відеотрансляції. А для вступного слова я радо запрошую Сьюзан Кутор, виконуючу обов'язки директора місії Агентства США з міжнародного розвитку в Україні. Miss Couture, hello and welcome. Can you hear us well?
Yes, I can. And can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm very pleased to be here. And I'm excited to open this conference, this important and very timely conference. And hopefully the technology, thanks to the technology, will be working despite this difficult time in Ukraine and around the world. For today's discussion, how national and local governments can have support during after the quarantine is focused. It's a question that essentially all countries are grappling with as the COVID-19 crisis has impacted the economic challenge significant. In Ukraine, businesses are shut down, and already an estimated 2 million people have lost their jobs and their sources of income. All of our communities are impacted, which means, of course, that we all have a vested interest in having an open conversation about the challenges we're facing and in sharing creative ideas and best practices about how to address them. Today's conference provides a great platform for just such an exchange of ideas from all over Ukraine and from other countries as well. This conference builds on the work of USAID's DOBRE activity, through which we support the economic development and strengthen the local governance of partner communities across the country. Long before the pandemic, DOBRE provided equipment and technology for online communication to our communities that we work with, and now local leaders are using this technology to work remotely and to stay in touch with their constituents. This technology is also allowing DOBRE to continue to provide online consultations on economic development, and today's conference is just one example. It also enables our partners to communicate with their local and national government counterparts so that they can together plan how to smooth the economic shock caused by the nationwide shutdown and how to create a solid foundation for a post-pandemic economic revival. Today's discussion is timely, but I would say it's just the beginning. The conversation must continue as the COVID-19 crisis will require a long-term collective effort with all the stakeholders that are here today. I believe the right people are here, and the ideas that you generate and the plans that result from this will give all of us a better sense of the road forward. I look forward to today's discussion. I wish you well, stay healthy, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Couture, for the welcoming remarks. It will definitely give us rise to our discussion for next couple of hours. May I also use an opportunity and ask you a question? Since the US government has increased support to Ukraine to help to deal with the COVID challenges, can you please tell us a little bit more what kind of support USAID is providing to Ukraine now?
Yes. Around the world, the US government is working directly with governments, multilateral organizations, civil society, private sector, to help mitigate the impact of COVID-19. In Ukraine specifically, the US government has committed $9.1 million in health and humanitarian assistance funding to help, again, to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. With this funding, we will be strengthening laboratory systems, providing much needed equipment and supplies, and we will bolster the infection prevention and control efforts in targeted health facilities, and will provide critical hygiene and sanitation assistance, in particular for the most vulnerable conflict-affected populations in Donetsk and Luhansk across both sides of the line of contact.
Thank you so much for this valuable information. We are very grateful that you have been here with us today. If you have an opportunity, please continue watching the discussion online. And at the moment, I would like to give the floor to our next speaker. So thank you once again, Ms. Couture.
Thank you. Thank you.
Що ж, зараз я хочу...
And now I would like to invite to the microphone our next presenter, Mr. Romanovich, Deputy Minister of the Economic Development, Trade and Agriculture of Ukraine. Dmytro, can you hear us? Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Now let's come closer to our discussion. The first question to you: what is the plan for post-quarantine revival of businesses, and how the state can support the businesses? Shall I speak Ukrainian or English? It's better to speak Ukrainian because the majority of our audience is Ukrainian speaking. So first of all, I would like to thank you for invitation to the participation in this event, and actually these are very topical issues for businesses. Just a few days ago, I presented some criteria what should be satisfied to launch the 5-staged revival process, resuming process after quarantine. Should I make pauses for translation? Actually, neither country in the world was sufficiently prepared for this pandemic, and as the practice had proven, even the United States and Italy, which are rather developed countries, they appeared unprepared to those economic losses which they suffered, to engage the partners' experience and extrapolate it to the national situations. I should say that this is quite new experience for all countries in the world. We cannot predict what will happen, whether we should expect for the second wave of the pandemic, whether it will be in autumn, in early autumn, in later fall, and all the measures which are taken, they are agile, and some days ago we have published our revival plan. This is not the stone-carved plan. That is, we will change and adapt it depending on the situation. For the Ministry of Economy and Trade, we understood that the impact of coronavirus crisis was the most harmful for small businesses because they had no the cushion of safety. And trying to support small and medium enterprises, we have passed several laws which allow some tax exemptions for the SMEs that which supported growing unemployment, and actually this employment plan had just been launched recently. We also cut down the working we suggested support to those enterprises which cut down employment hours or had launched some redundancy plans for their companies. We suggested some support to those firms, allowing them to retain all the personnel employed. This second big area is some release of quarantine measures, and we try to remove the lockdown measures gradually. We have just recently allowed some measures for the food markets, and we hope that around May 11 or May 12, given that we have this outbreak of new cases, we will allow some releases of the lockdown, and we have also amended, made some amendments to the bank program 579%, and we offered refunding of the credits which are already given to the businesses. So we have now passed some amendments to this program, and we will allow refinancing of the existing loans and refinancing of salaries to be paid to employers, etc. So these are key key measures that will be taken. Then as to the regional needs, in Ukrainian legislation, there was a limitation which did not allow regional programs to get more than one benefit type from the central budget. Now we have removed this limitation in the law number 540, and now the regional authorities which have funds allocated from the regional development fund, etc., they may apply for additional state support, additional support from the central budget for their local businesses. These are amendments that were made recently. Thank you, Dmitry. I would like to ask additional question. What are the measures taken by the ministry to stabilize the economy in the long-term perspective? We cannot speak about long-term measures only in the context of the ministry, because this brings in also the National Bank and other government agencies and ministries. Quite recently, the NBE had considerably cut down the interest rate up to 8%, and this will drastically increase the liquidity of bank system. We will soon reload the mortgage market and offer some supports for small and medium-sized businesses, and offer some credit guarantees to them. Now we are thinking about broader programs, how to support business and employment. Perhaps we will strengthen and support big construction programs and trying to launch the economy via infrastructural programs. And currently we are finalizing the state programs for employment via infrastructural construction. Now it's not my role to announce, to publish these programs, but currently we are financing the procurement program for SMEs, etc. That is, we will offer broader procurement, state procurement program to SMEs. Thank you, Dmitry. Unfortunately, we do not have more time for this discussion. Thank you for your participation, and stay with us. When we will continue our discussion. Now, I'm happy to invite Yaroslav Zhalila, Deputy Director of the National Institute of Strategic Studies.
Good afternoon, Yaroslav. Thank you for joining us. First, we would like to ask you to provide your response to the previous speaker's remarks, and also to provide the opinion of the National Institute of Strategic Research on these programs in the context of the work with the local power. This is really interesting, dear colleagues. We should get adequate feedback how these plans are implemented. It is really important for us to hear what people do in practice, because we work mainly with theory of these things. About the Council of Economic Development and the support it provides. Yes, support is needed to business that face difficult situation. We should support people. But we should also relaunch gradually our economic activity to restore the markets, especially this is about SMEs, and this is a key idea of the smart shutdown, and these results of this program, they were announced, have been announced today. This is not only about measures of support, this is also about creating conditions for these actions. We provide proposals about protocols, about rational instruments that should be implemented at the central level, at the level of the communities, in order to help business, to provide target support for businesses, to provide support of small business and its ability to enter the markets. The situation is more difficult now, and we should help them. And we now discuss this program of support for business during our meetings of the Council. And many people who work at the local level, these people, they should understand that they should be active themselves and not to wait for some proposals from the central power. There were some state programs that were cut, and subsidies were cut for amalgamated communities, and also taxes, they should be lowered. People in the community should understand how they can help themselves. So the main, what community should do in order to help local business in these times of shutdown. And agribusiness producers of agricultural produce, they have some problems, and the government announced today that the food markets will be reopened. And we should understand in what conditions they may work. And community should help organize the work of such markets and to organize trade platforms. 200 markets, this is not enough to unblock this problem, because we have small markets. There are many of them. Also, people also sell products in the streets, and this problem should also be addressed. And there are proposals and actions how to sell these products not through the markets but through internet platforms to help sell these products, to provide intermediary support for retail trade. Also, we had ideas concerning local funds and volunteers. Some agricultural produce may be bought and then provided to those people who are in self-isolation or who are in critical situation. Social help should be provided to such people. Also, procurement is important for support of agricultural producers. The next wave and social tension may appear in May, and it will be connected with tourism and recreational businesses. From one side, destinations are closed, and maybe this is an opportunity for local tourism, but there are limitations that will be preserved, and even domestic tourism will be limited. Communities should try to restart this business, and maybe they should provide some transport to safely bring people in tourist destinations. Also, this may be working to create some safe conditions in recreational facilities. And there may be some alternative steps concerning local products production on a national scale. There should be creative approach, and our institute will help in this. And we invite you to cooperate with us to provide ideas concerning a reopening of tourism sector, because this is a really important sector for many communities. We should not forget that communities have such an instrument as a last mile for business. All these communications, routes, local regulations, and communities may support business through these channels and help them to restore after business had such losses. And communities, they should not only support themselves, they should also communicate with others. They should not be isolated. We recommend to cooperate in national programs. There is a program on agriculture concerning land market and industrial policies provided by the government, and these policies, they will be efficient only with participation of local grassroots level communities. And also we recommend to communities to join such programs and to be active. And there should be employment markets, mobility should be increased, investment to territorial development, investment of the communities to local entrepreneurship, for example, investment in energy efficiency, then they may reach broader markets to get funding. Cooperation with power to overcome structural difficulties. There should be proper social policy, there should be compensation for unemployed, and there should be proper cooperation with the center. If the community is included in national policy, they will get better chances to participate in budget programs, and they will be able to get help from international organizations, and they also may attract to reach this epidemiological resistance. Our smart policy is based on the fact that our government expects this second wave, and we should be ready. Both consumers and markets should be ready. And but it is difficult to restore business in such waiting for a bad situation. So for us, it is important not to only reinforce healthcare system, but it is important to treat people, but it is even more important to prevent disease. And then there will be less opportunity for these people to fall ill. And communities should provide help in this. And they should prevent spread of COVID-19 And first, what can be done? These are issues connected with health. This is reconstruction and the development of healthcare centers. And the government says that they believe that only 10% of capacities will be loaded. But before, there were issues how to reduce these capacities. Now we should broaden them. Also, we should study with the help of the experts where the risks lie within the communities to implement the measures specific to the community, to increase prevention, to work with the risk groups, to support healthy lifestyle, to support environment protection. So these are the functions of communities, and communities are responsible for this. And also there are specific risks for the regions, for epidemiological situation in the regions, and localized diseases. And the communities may help to reduce such risks. Also the issue of environment. Bad ecology increases the risks. How to decrease the load? Maybe we should have bigger vehicles and maybe to change some routes in order to prevent crowds and transport. Especially important issue is food products markets, in order not to spread disease. And maybe these and also there should be services, administrative services should be provided in such a way in order to avoid crowds. And also there should be administrative and institutional capabilities to respond to the challenges that may appear. For example, if there will be a need to increase the quarantine measures. So the role of local power is the most important now, and communities, their role is really decisive in restoration of local business. And not only the government is responsible for this. Communities, they should not be isolated. They should get united. They should unite their effort in order to develop. And I will gladly continue my participation in this press conference. Please, if you have questions, please ask me. Thank you for your expert advice. Thank you for staying with us. I believe it will be interesting to hear the examples of local communities that will participate. I believe they will provide answers how they implement these ideas at a local level. Thank you. And we continue. I would like to give the floor to our next speaker, Andrei Slabinsky, head of SME Development Office in the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Agriculture. Andrei, welcome. Good afternoon. I believe you had the opportunity to hear what your colleague, Mr. Romanovich said, and we spoke about the practical mechanisms of support for SMEs. I would like you to speak more about financial instruments that are available and about the program of available credits, the program that is called 579. I will be glad to speak about it. I've prepared a small presentation and I will share it with our viewers, with our audience, with our listeners. This is great. Do you need help in showing the slides? I will try to do it. Do you see something? Yeah, we see them. We see it clearly. First of all, several words. Who we are. We are office. We are a development office in the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Agriculture. We are 10 experts. We are financed through Ukraine Business EU project, EB office. And this office, this is a solution that helps the ministry to implement a number of initiatives for business until permanent institution is formed to implement the program of support for business. All those initiatives that we now deal with, they are directed to form the systemic means to develop SMEs at the local and regional levels. Today, as of today, we have in our portfolio several initiatives and projects with which we can work. This is about portals for entrepreneurs, pilot initiatives at the bodies of local power. And this project is for communities in order that they had the opportunity to cooperate with entrepreneurs in their region and their community, and to bring those opportunities that we have at the national level, and to provide feedback about the problems that entrepreneurs have, because usually entrepreneurs do not have opportunity to attend conferences that are organized. About program solutions, our portfolio is being adapted to current situation. A lot of problems were mentioned, problems that we are expecting. This is domestic tourism. This is one of the examples of those directions of the solutions for the support of business we are working on with our partners within our ministry. About this program, state program of accessible credits, and we have an interesting moment for sharing this program. The matter is, recently, on the 15th of April, changes were introduced to the program, and these days, now they work on the additional measures for the entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs really need this product and it should be available to entrepreneurs. This program consists of several components. This is about combination of the mechanisms of compensation of the rate and also credit loan guarantees. And we added additional instruments. This is delayed payments of the interest. So the figures concerning the interest, we have new figures. It is not 579, but 3 and 0. And I would like also to speak separately about 2 new components of the program. And I repeat, we continue to work on this program. That's why you should not go to the bank at the moment. You may apply and wait for consideration of your application, but we are speaking about 2 components, sub-programs. One of them is directed to provide loans for operating capital for business that now is shut down and they need financial resources. Some things will remain the same. This is the sum of the loan up to 3 million and the term of the loan up to 2 years, and the interest that is proposed is 3%.
What is crucial moment, what will influence the success of this program. There's a partial credit guarantee. As of now, the coverage shall amount to 80%, and in recent days, we will coordinate the work of state and private banks to launch practically this program. Because as all of us know that before the pandemic, the banks introduced very high percent and very high interest rates, and it became almost impossible for the businesses to get loans from the banks. Another component to which I would like to draw your attention, and we put our big hopes on this component, even bigger than on the banks, about 5.79%. This is refinancing, allowing loans for and refinancing opportunities for SMEs, and thus to increase financial resources for employment, for operational cost. Then first we will remove the upper limits for such a loan, and we hope that this will revive the economic activity. So this spectrum of initiatives related to increasing access to bank loans is enriched, and you may apply for information about these novelties on our website, on our internet address, which you see here, and we would like to promote this information in the amalgamated local communities and allow SMEs to get better access to funding. Also, I would like to draw your attention to a special information page devoted to the support of SMEs during pandemic, and you see the link here on this slide, and here you may find more advice, more ideas, and ask your questions related to business activities. We have received more than 100 questions on that portal, and actually this is about the possibilities to strengthen business activities, to revive business activities during and after the quarantine, and here we advise to apply resolution number 211, which on the one hand limits the spectrum of businesses which can remain operational during quarantine. On the other hand, it allows some activities. I advise to look closely at this resolution to understand clearly who is not allowed to operate. On the other hand, a very tough approach which requires closures of many businesses, SMEs at the local level. Although this means compliance with the national authority resolution, but this actually stops all the local economic life. How to balance the risks and benefits and how to stimulate the activities of local businesses, and we encourage you to balance the risks and the need to operate businesses at the local level. Some limitations are imposed excessively. For example, if you have a coffee shop, which can work safely under these quarantine measures, and so try to trace back the risks and make it operational. I hope that we will have more and more news every day. I encourage you to keep an eye on our Facebook page, and we are ready to be useful for you during these tough times. Thank you very much. I'm ready to answer your questions. Andrei, thank you for information and your advice for the amalgamated communities. I have received several questions during your presentations, but in my opinion, they would require more broader answers, and upon your permission, we would like to forward these questions to you in writing. Very brief advice. Quite recently, we have added the section on our website describing success stories of businesses who managed to cooperate, who managed to support their business floating during this tough times. So I hope that we will offer more and more advice and information for our clients. Recrediting, whether it is already launched. It will be launched very soon when the amendments will be introduced to contracts between banks and the Entrepreneurship Development Fund. I expect this to start functioning in a week. So a week from now, and try to approach to your local banks asking for refinancing of your credits. Thank you. I would like to continue a discussion on the available tools, and we have Ms. Valeria, Deputy Minister of the Digital Transformation. what initiatives of the Digital Transformation Ministry are aiming the support of SMEs? Thank you for your question. I would like to start from the very beginning and provide a short intro intro about the Digital Transformation Ministry. The ministry was established in October last year. We should bring all the administrative services online, then ensure good access to internet everywhere in Ukraine, increase digital literacy of the population up to 1%, and increase the share of those who uses digital services. That these are strategic goals of our ministry, but they also we also have some sub goals. We want to transform the life of society and businesses and make it anew. And at this point, we come to the SMEs development in Ukraine. Perhaps you have heard about DIA or Action Program. This is a portal of state services. This is an application which could be downloaded to your mobile phone. It also has a section devoted to the digital skills, where we offer digital training movies to people. And we have also DIA business section. You may go to dia.business.gov.ua address and find the catalog of all possible solutions for businesses. You can find the list of possible donors. You can find the selection of templates for your documents. You can find educational programs which could be useful for your business development. There you can find life hacks, successful business stories. You can find also Wikipedia for businessmen, where you can find, for example, CRM system, how to find financial director. And there you can find 100 business ideas, some ideas about minimal investments, templates for application to investments, and the list of documents which are needed for you as a launcher of the new business. And in a month, we will allow online consulting zone comprising 12 different areas: validation of business idea, legal support, marketing, sales support, etc. This service will be available online, and you will be able to get such consultation via video connection. And we try to build up the ecosystem for businesses. We can introduce a lot of novelties, but if business people do not know about them, so they do not exist. In Ukraine, we have a lot of problems with entrepreneurship culture. And business schools are not available to many businesses. Available scattered information everywhere in the internet is insufficient and fragmented. So we started to establish consulting business zones for entrepreneurs. The first such zone will be opened in May in Kharkiv. The launching date, the opening date was originally planned for April, but now it is rescheduled for March. What does it mean, consulting zone? Or consultancy zone. This is a place where any businesses may come and get consultation in 12 different areas related to business. That is, not only online consultancy will be available, but also offline consultancy services will be available. Also, in those centers, we will provide space for systemic training for small businesses comprising many business programs. Also, we will offer pop hub location there. This will be available for those entrepreneurs who have ready products and want to get feedback on this product. That is, you may introduce your product in the consultancy area and get feedback about the qualities of the product, about branding, about marketing strategies, and thus entrepreneurs will be able to get feedback from a focus group, which will allow later to promote this product. Also, we would offer children's zones, that is, areas for kids in these consultancy zones for entrepreneurs. And we will continue to work with Kharkiv region, encouraging and promoting this consultancy zone for businesses. We also plan to establish more such centers, up to 7 such areas around Ukraine. We do not have a state budget for such zones. And we are supported by the companies in this project. Today, we will release first information about those business partners who have been supporting us in Kharkiv. Such entrepreneurial consultancy centers should be created in every city, providing opportunities for training, for networking, for business, because networking is crucially important for businesses. You know, there is a book devoted to networking. A community of businessmen is able to strengthen each entrepreneur individually. So currently we are that's why I believe that in some months after opening the first consultancy zone in Kharkiv, we will get feedback for it. Besides that, we plan to improve the functionality of the DIA portal. We plan to have admin access for the regional centers, and in the nearest future we will offer this. Besides that, we will offer online entrepreneurial school on our application. We also have developed entrepreneurship course for high school students and for university students. For high school students, this will be a course available on both online and offline with a teacher. For this project, we envisage also trainings for teachers. As for university student course, it will be slightly different. Also, we will offer online dispute resolution. We will offer some other projects which we currently try to analyze now. Despite the fact that the Ministry of Economy is a leader as to the policy on SMEs. Nevertheless, the Ministry of Digital Transformation is also very much involved into this. But I hope that from my description you understood how much we try to help the SMEs. If you have any questions, you may ask your questions on my Facebook page. Thank you, Valeria, for your announcement, business announcement, and I understood that the ministry has ambitious plans. Thank you for devoting much attention to the business opportunities. Perhaps you might be interested to know that at the level of communities, some business centers exist at the local level. The DOBRE program has several such programs. Katerina Kabaits from Kharkiv region will present their program. So stay with us and you will hear about that. Dear guests, my pleasure is to invite Mr. Alexander Dudka, coordinator of RegionNet Development Professionals Network. I will add only one small comment that Alexander and his colleagues carried out a survey among the RegionNet users related directly to the topic of our today's conference.
Thank you. Dear organizers and participants of our international video conference about restoration of local economy, thank you for the opportunity to present the results of our research. I'm a coordinator of RegionNet Development Professionals Network. Also, I am a chief editor of Strategy of Development Journal. And the main thesis of your speech may be published in our journal in May. Now I would like to present my presentation to you to show those results that we got. And then I will tell you more about them. It will be easier for me to tell about them. Is it downloading? We do not see it. We do not have a picture. Yes, we have it. Thank you. The floor is yours. Next slide. Several words about our network. It is working starting 2014. We are informal, non-political professional union. 180 experts throughout Ukraine participate in our network. Each quarter of the year, we issue Strategy of Development Journal. We provide advice on development of communities in different regions of Ukraine. Our journal is interesting for 4,000 subscribers, and it became a source of the results of this research I'm going to speak about. We have articles provided by experts, and also those experts from the regions and the local and the national officials, heads of territorial communities. Our journal is read by deputies and people's deputies, and also by our subscribers, as I've said. And this edition is about coronavirus, to present information how to overcome this economic crisis. We carried out a survey, and now I'm going to present the results that we got. First, I would like to say that not everyone responded. About 2,200 respondents, but we got the answers from all over Ukraine. We have interesting statistics. Those who answered among respondents, there were representatives of local government, 6% state power representatives, 15.6% representatives of communal enterprises, of communal property, 14.4 private entrepreneurs. Less is pensioners and unemployed people. Our journal is mainly for active people. 32.6 continue to work at their working places. 26% are working at home. They use telecommunication and internet, and 29 are working at home using video conferencing through internet. And 6% they are now on vacation, and 3.5 they're searching for work now. We were trying to find out how today's situation is assessed by our readers, and we asked them, and they answered. 7.1% believe that we should wait for the end of a shutdown when normal life restarts, and only then to raise the issues of entrepreneurship in their communities. But the prevailing majority, 92%, believe that we should not wait the end of shutdown, and we should develop those areas of entrepreneurship that really provides answers to current questions. Also, we asked our respondents one interesting question. Many communities believe that they should take care properly of themselves, and we asked them whether they believe that their community may be self-sufficient and people should buy produce of local producers. So what answer we've got for this? 85% said yes, they support this idea, and 14.7% said no. And so this idea was supported. As Yaroslav Zhilila said, we should not only focus on our own communities, we should also use local resources properly and be proactive. We asked about the most important issues for our readers, and we got such answers. To identify 5 main businesses. So the biggest percentage, this is production of agricultural produce and processing of agricultural produce. Next, provision of services for bringing goods to homes, and also provide information technology services. Next, we decided to ask about the opinion of our viewers about the start of business and their communities in these difficult times of shutdown. It turns out that entrepreneurs, they may take decisions by themselves, and we wanted to ask whether local government bodies be the catalysts of the entrepreneurial activity in their communities. That's why we've asked about creation of communal enterprises in this time. Of course, we understand that the main way of development of entrepreneurship, these are those active people, entrepreneurs, but we asked them to answer such question, to create a communal enterprise, whether it is needed. And we will hear the answers that were provided by our readers. And we've asked about the maturity of directions and about overall results. You may get this information from our journal that will be issued in May. Local government bodies, they have real opportunities to create communal enterprises even in times of shutdown because they have more resources. And we asked to assess this in scores from 1 to 10, from 7, 8, 9, and 10, 54% provided this to create such enterprises that would provide services of access to internet and telecommunication in times of shutdown. This is a very important direction, because we should provide for cooperation, distance learning of students, and also to sell local agricultural produce. This is really interesting information, not only for local government bodies, but also for those enterprises who are working in their communities and they see the need that they can meet by their own services. Also, creation of communal enterprises that would provide medical control in the territory of the community, and to provide so-called limitations for the spread of coronavirus in the territory. This raised big support. We got 55% of support from those people who assessed this idea, 7, 8, 9, and 10 scores. This assessment confirms the trend of necessity to create additional conditions for isolation of the most vulnerable groups of population. That's why we believe that today we have an opportunity for development of green tourism, for elderly people in those communities where there is no ill people, and this vulnerable people, for them the risks will be decreased and they will have a normal life after the end of the shutdown. We have such examples and proposals from our experts in the sphere of green tourism, and we believe that this area will develop in the nearest future, especially concerning geriatric homes. The maturity of positive assessment was provided for the idea of agro and logistics center, the enterprise that will buy vegetables, fruit, and dairy products, that will process this produce and then will send it to trade networks. And 7, 8, 9, and 10 scores were provided to this idea. And it is not a coincidence, because logistical center will be able to help bring produce and to people, and this will provide high quality. This produce may be sold through internet and brought to people's homes. Moreover, in our region net, we had a discussion for a long time about it, about the communities that got amalgamated, and now they have premises and personnel, those who worked in the councils, village and cities councils, that now are not the centers of the community. And now these people are not employed because of this unification. These people, they are a resource. They may work in these logistical centers. There are premises, there are specialists who lost employment, and they may get this employment in these logistical centers. And we know that a lot of our people, they rely on their own produce that they produce themselves. We confirm that we were right in our principle. You should think about and dream about the future, but you should do everything possible here today where you are. Thank you very much for these results of research, and we are really interested in the opinion of RegionNet network. that you provided your advice to communities. And I would like to note that you may get this presentation in our materials. We will add these materials to our database. Thank you very much. Please stay with us. Thank you. So now we are joined by Yaroslav Ruchishin, People's Deputy of Ukraine, Secretary of the Verkhovna Rada on Economic Development. You are given the floor. Yaroslav, greetings. Thank you for joining us. I know that recently you had online communication with the people and you were able to speak directly with entrepreneurs and you've discussed their problems, and now we are speaking about these issues during our press conference. You have a big entrepreneurial experience and we are interested in your view what business needs and how we can help the business.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I cannot reflect on the previous ideas expressed during your conference because I have just finished my meetings with my voters. Speaking about the business problems today, we should start from the macro level, from international level. As you can see what's going on with oils prices around the world, and for big companies this drop in production means actually the fact that may suppress production in Ukraine. They have a lot of financial resources and they can survive while Ukraine may not survive. For example, the cement market in the world, and as far as I know, 50 countries have passed the decisions that based on force majeure, they introduce protectionist measures in their economies. So we have to think about protectionist measures in our economy. As for the national level, the next level, quite recently, I've received very negative news for our national authorities. We don't just have corona crisis, we have entered the corona crisis with a huge economic crisis. I understand that in those dangerous circumstances you are able to think about health conditions and you focus on that. But our national authorities should not forget those complications in the economy which we had before the corona crisis, and while at that time we kept speaking that businesses which can start, which can work, which can ensure safety conditions, secure conditions for people, it can continue to work in this corona crisis conditions, while we should emphasize that it should work. When we look at Lviv, we find out that 100,000 people were involved in the hospitality sector. You can imagine how they suffer now, and they have lost all the opportunities. If entrepreneurs can ensure security for the workers, those enterprises should continue to work. Let us look at the Employment Service Foundation. Besides registration of the labor migrants, they could approach the businesses and provide advice about safe labor conditions, maybe help with delivery of masks, maybe help with the better labor conditions, because when we observe our enterprises locked down, we will very soon find out that this lockdown will stop everything for labor migrants who had come back and stay here. Let us look at them. These are innovative, these are industrious people who were not happy with Ukrainian business conditions and had left Ukraine in the past. Now they had come back, and we have to think how to allow them to plant businesses and plant new enterprises here. Although I am not a supporter of protectionism in the economy, but for a short period at this very time, we should and could support and encourage people to consume local products, and thus allow us to survive in these difficult circumstances. I'm not very much optimistic about local governments, that they are able to offer something new for local entrepreneurs, but I'm very optimistic about creativity of Ukrainian people. For example, I know that businesses had invented the car the cinema theater where you can come by car, but our cabinet of ministers has prohibited that. I do not understand that. The business had found this way out, while the governments try to impose a ban. Why the cabinet of ministers should be involved into this. This should be given to the local level, and this is true about all the in local initiatives. So my idea is that we should not forget about economic crisis in Ukraine and changes at the global level in economic situation stimulate us to take a fresh view on our local economic situation. I would like to offer for your comments such a statement. We have many local government members as our audience today. And for example, Maria wrote that our local communities are ready to cooperate with the state, but currently the state is withdrawing funds from local communities, which will not promote further work. Can you help as a parliamentary in the situation? At the parliamentary level, we may only vote for the amounts in the budget on the one hand. On the other hand, we may support or not support provision of banking loans to population. I believe that following the subsidiarity principle, as many funds as possible should be transferred to the local level. Excessive centralization in funds could become harmful for the local level. We have sufficient level of knowledge at the local level. In general, entrepreneurship should contact with local authorities and have minimal contacts with the national level. Local entrepreneurs cannot waste time on contacts with national authorities. Thus, we will be able to survive in the coronavirus situation. Thank you for your participation. Now we can come back to our conference participants, and we have Mr. Robert Żarkowski, Director of Foundation for Support of Local Democracy in Szczecin in Poland. Robert, Mr. Żarkowski, I'm happy to see you. We are waiting for your presentation. We can see your presentation. Please start. Once again, welcome to all the participants. I'm a representative of the Foundation for Support of Local Democracy. This is one of the biggest organizations in Poland, which has been functioning for 30 years and cooperates with all the local authorities in Portugal. We have contacts at the national level and at the international level. So how to support SMEs, how to assist local businesses this is the action group zones. Those are protective masks for those who work for the community, those who are subject to infection, who continue to work in these conditions of coronavirus, may apply for the necessary individual protection products, and all local producers, couriers, they immediately they are at the front line, and they can get this from volunteers. In Prushkov, we have experience of free advertising for local entrepreneurs. Local community provides this advertising materials, billboards, pictures, etc. And this is offered free for local entrepreneurs. Two-sided banners would be placed 2 times during quarantine period and 2 times after the quarantine period. Now traffic is very much limited in the streets. That's why we offer 2 publications of advertising materials after the quarantine. Community DOBRE had procured banner spaces from local company, and also it sponsored production of the protective masks. In Częstochowa, the local community spreads a so-called program of advanced services. It is called Let Us Rescue Local Entrepreneurs, and they offer financial support to the companies which are most vulnerable now. That is, today we pay for those services which we will use, the services that we will use tomorrow. In Saradz, they offered a program Buy Here. This is a local action to support local companies which offer local products. That is, support those who are our neighbors. In Glogov, instead of entertainment at the community level, they offered support to local entrepreneurs. The local community rejected from organization of municipal events, and local mayor had planned to direct all these financial resources for restoration of local infrastructure like pavements, local suppliers, local companies. local economic development is based on financial capital and local human capital, but this is actually the classical approach. While now in these tough times, we have found out that the most important is social capital. It's indigenous factors. This is the driver for for today's development, social adaptation, trust, for the participants of communication. These are becoming the main factors. That is, we base our support on joint values, trust, and support. Not only what we do is important, it is important how people perceive what we do. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Mr. Żarkowski, for your presentation for the cases from Polish communities. Perhaps you had a possibility to hear our previous speakers, whether the Ukrainian business issues related to coronavirus coincide with the Polish challenges, and how do you tackle those problems? You have similar problems, actually. We have the Polish government is keen to assist the local communities in their close support of local businesses. Thank you so much. I would like to check whether we have questions. Yes, we have some questions. Perhaps I will provide them to you in writing and you will answer in writing. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation. While we will continue our work, and it's my pleasure to invite Serhiy Podmogilny, Development Coordinator for Greenways Network in Ukraine. Let us discuss prospects for the tourism, internal tourism development in Ukraine. Perhaps you listened to Mr. Jalila about potential and opportunities for internal tourism development. It seemed to me that he was a bit cautious about that. What is your opinion, whether there are any chances, any opportunities for local communities?
Do you hear me well? Yes, we hear you well. Three of my colleagues mentioned tourism, and this is correct. And I would like to prove why it is important. According to forecast, first, we are 15 days in quarantine during this time. Parallel with our conference, we have 2 or 3 thematic tourism conference in Chernihiv and Cherkasy. And nearly each day there are meetings of hotel tourism and mixed experts meetings. They are held and people share their experience. The first I wanted to say about forecast. No one knows what will happen. Everything that is discussed now, these are just expectations based on some experience of some crises we've survived. And we have some benefit because we have a lot of experience. About forecasts, we understand that domestic tourism, it will develop, and this is not about actions of power and local power. We understand that the borders will be closed, and during 2 or 3 years, we will face the similar situation that we had in 2014, 2015, and 2016. Ukrainians at that time started to travel around their own country, and we face the same period when domestic tourism will develop. And I believe that for communities, this is a good chance for development. And I said this in 2014 and 2015. This previous military crisis we had, we didn't learn our lessons. Tourists came here, but tourism market, it didn't improve significantly. Quality was not increased significantly. And my message is this crisis should be used in order to improve infrastructure. We have time. We will serve our tourists, and our tourists, they are like all other tourists, and they have now higher expectations from the industry. We should provide quality infrastructure, and there should be quality of hotels and transport. All this should be improved. We should bring them to a higher level. It is important to understand that the behavior of tourists will change. The economic capacity will be less. Tourists will become poorer. They will search for lower costs for traveling. They will first use buses and cars, and then they will use trains, and only after this, at the latest stage, they will use airplanes. First, there will be short trips by car within the oblasts, later to adjacent oblasts, and then 500 kilometers distance, and then they will go all around Ukraine. And there will be weekend short travels, and majority of our colleagues, they speak about tourism in the cities, but I believe that it's time for rural tourism to develop new destinations. We understand that urban tourism, they have better infrastructure, it will revive, and one more important destination that will revive soon, this is going to the seaside, because this is connected with nature and health, and this will be really important. Also, summer vacations for kids. There are some concerns concerning safety and opportunity to get prepared for groups of children. Also, recreation in national parks. We have 53 national parks and national and regional parks, and the number of people who travel will increase, those who spend nights in tents, and tourists would like to have the health restored, because it is difficult to stay indoors. People would like to go to the forests, and in Poland and in Estonia, in other countries, this is successfully used. Unfortunately, we do not have this activity organized, and we should overcome this crisis and get prepared to grow our tourism much higher than we have it now. And also the issue of safety. This is issue number one. Hygiene is important. In the nearest future, this issue of hygiene will be persistent, and also there should be safety of travel. For business, it is important to adapt to current conditions. I understand that this is not easy. I won't take much time. My colleagues in tourism market, in hotel market, they elaborated clear requirements, and they addressed local and national government. This should be also considered by the people's deputies, but they do not consider this issue in the way they should. And the power does not pay enough attention to tourism. That's why business, tourism business, they try to cooperate more with the power at the local level. And we should adapt our tourism products and goods in accordance with current security and safety situation, and to provide services to target audience. Each product has its audience. Corporate, family, tourism, they have different expectations, and the product should be adapted to a target group. Right communication is important for the tourists, and this is really important. We should explain this to people. We elaborated a plan. We changed a product. We have a communication plan that was updated, and I believe that our messages to our clients, they will quickly help us to return this flow of clients. Our products should not be banal. I believe we should also provide rural tourism, ecotourism, and this should be added to other activities. For example, it may be added to farming activities. And there may be adjacent services, there may be rent of kayaks or bikes, and in Ukraine we lack such services in the market. Also innovative things in the communities. For example, campings. In any developed country, they have campings. In Ukraine, we lack them. We have less than 10 of such premises, and in Ukraine we have only one example of glamping. This is the innovative form of tourism. Also, we should create partnerships, clusters, different associations. We form with our colleagues a union, all-Ukrainian network of ecological tourism, and we invite business that provides services of ecological tourism. If communities are interested, we invite your representatives. Those who are interested, please join our network, and we would like to show those people who work in this sector. They provide services. There are territories that may be visited in this thematic tourism. My colleagues mentioned loan support. I would like to hope that this will work. And Andrei said that this is not 579 but 3 and 0. I believe that will be really valuable for business, priceless for business. So this is really needed. This should work. It should not be only on paper, because in the Ukrainian situation, often they write it down in a good way, but often these things are not implemented. Also, there should be a real support. We should study Belarus experience of 2006. They launched rural tourism. They provided the loan support from the state up to $20,000 for 10 years. And there was a successful project. It is still ongoing. And Belarus agro-tourism is, this is more than 2,002 households that accept tourists and provide products, and we are lagging behind this country concerning rural tourism, and now we have opportunity to do this. So also environment was mentioned. If we are speaking about tourism and rural tourism, that it has a chance, and parallel there are some environmental problems, and then this tourism is ruined if environment is suffering, because rivers, riversides, we should take care of them, because big agrarian monsters, they bring a lot of profit, but nature is ruining, and if nature is ruined, then tourism won't develop. And we should preserve our nature, because rural tourism is based on nature and its preservation, and we may use this experience really quickly. Thank you.
Sergey, thank you so much. Thank you for your detailed expert review, and you even advice to the business operators, tourist business operators. And now let us continue with the topic of tourism, and I'm happy to invite Mr. Radim Rauchem from České Krumlov, Czech Republic.
I'd like to mention that you have contributed to our previous conference and mentioned that your city of Český Krumlov, as a major tourist attraction in Czechia, is struggling from the lack of revenues from tourism and hospitality industry due to quarantine. So has it changed since our last talk? And what is your tools or even strategy for resolving this issue?
Well, I'm very happy that even the voice of the local governments can be heard here, because those are the ones that come into direct contact with the citizens. But it's not easy to speak after my predecessors, because they have said very much of what every one of us has to deal with. So thank you guys for making me very short. So I think you'll be happy with that. Well, the basic recipe for everyone is to let people keep as much money as possible, not to take them, not to tax them, to waive everything you can. So we are postponing the payment of rents. We are thinking about waiving them altogether for people to be allowed to keep them. We are waiving some fees. For example, if you have a restaurant that has a table and seats in front of it in the street. It won't be necessary for you to pay for it. So we are trying to give a helping hand to our businesses. And the most important thing for us, because we are a heavy tourist town, 40% of all inhabitants here work in tourism. So we really need to promote internal tourism, as many of you have said already, because we kind of forgot about Czech tourists, about the domestic tourists, and we need to show them that they are welcome here. We work very hard with our nationwide agency, which promotes tourism, to show the Czech people to spend their vacation in the Czech Republic, and we would like most of them to come to my city, because it's a small city. We have only 13,000 inhabitants, but we have 2 million tourists per year coming to our city. We try to bring people in. We are planning to organize social events, concerts. We very much like to promote cooperation with our tourist towns and places, so people have opportunity or reason to stay longer in the area. And I think we all face similar challenges and are going to solve them in a similar way. We are now counting our losses. We really don't know how much money this crisis will cost our city, but we know it will be a lot. And when we have a clear idea, we'll know what we can afford more to offer more to the people and to the businesses. One important thing is, for example, to open schools so people can go to work again, because our schools and kindergartens are closed, and they've been closed for a month now. And it's really pressing that not all people can work from home, and they really need to be able to get people to get children to schools and be able to work again. We're trying to promote good mood as well, because money can buy you only so much, and happy people are much more are able to cope with the situation better than sad people. So we are having a small campaign of persuading people that we're gonna make it, and they're gonna make it together with us. So that's it. So let the people keep as much money as they have. Don't force them to give them to you, and try to promote your place for tourists to come to your city. That's the plan we have.
Thank you for sharing with us these remarks. And I also like to ask you, well, since yesterday, as far as I know, the government of Czech Republic lifted some of the COVID restrictions, or just loosened a bit the lockdown restrictions. So could you tell us what businesses were allowed to come back to their activity at the first place, and what is the plan for recovery?
Since yesterday, all businesses which are smaller than 2,500 square meters are allowed to open, excluding the big shopping malls. They will be closed for another 2 weeks. So the business can start booming again, but we need customers to come to them. So it's easy. Now we have the tools, but we like the people to spend money there.
Thank you for sharing with us your point of view and your experience on dealing with the economic effects of the pandemic. And please continue following our discussion if you have time for this. We are very pleased to have you here. Once again, thank you, and we'll continue. Дякуємо, пану Рауч.
Thank you, Mr. Rauch. And our next speaker is from Voznesensk local community in Mykolaiv region, Mr. Vitaly Lukov. We cannot hear you by now. Can you hear us? Can you hear? We cannot hear you. We can hear you, we can see you. That's good. Mr. Lukov, thank you for joining the conference. The previous speaker, Mr. Adam Rauch, mentioned that they are counting the losses in the local budget. According to our survey about losses to local budgets during quarantine, we have heard from you that you have you are under budgeted for 300 million hryvnia of the national subvention. So how you try to cope with the situation and whether it had improved? Of course, this is the a problem for all the local communities. I would like to thank to the partners who participate in this conference today. We are approaching actually to the critical figure in our revenues. We will have 12% of, or even up to 15% of non-implementation of the local budget. And we are very cautious about that. And we have to be honest that the situation started even before the pandemic, and even in January we had noticed that the national subvention was not coming, and in that circumstances we had made a conservative budget for this year, and beginning with February, we have been using very cautiously the money that we had been receiving. I had talks with my colleagues from Poland, and even in Poland, they have a more strict approach to the pandemic, while in Ukraine we have a rather different situation. Having entered this lockdown restrictions, we had the possibility to offer some more strict rules to follow. For example, for the city transport, the rule was uncertain about who are allowed to use city transport. This allowed us not to stop all the businesses. For example, the factory which is able to ensure safe conditions for its employees and export its products abroad. Why we should stop this factory because of the stopped and shut down city transport. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and only those will survive who is able to allocate correctly all the forces. We have to play our role. We should play a major role for our local people. We have to support those who can continue their regular work and try to create better conditions for businesses and even create some incentives. We have created 2 platforms for sales of local produce. For example, we have online platform for sales of early vegetables, but of course this do not resolve the problems of small farmers, but totally, but nevertheless this helps them. And on March 26, we applied to the government about 3.57% interest rates loans, and for the refinancing of the loans which were taken by small farmers in recent past. Unfortunately, for many people, this had become crucial, and we hope that our position expressed at the governmental level in late March allowed the government to introduce this novelty and to help to that sector of Ukrainian society which does not apply for governmental support in these difficult circumstances. Thank you, Vitaly. I have got a question which I would like to ask you. The question: after quarantine, many people are thinking to go to local communities, having quit Kiev, and whether local communities are willing to accept these newcomers from Kiev. We had been thinking about the strategy, how to increase the comfort in our city and provide as much comfortable life for local residents. In our city, we can offer very good conditions. We have very good quality of potable water. We are not far from Odessa. We are not far from Mykolaiv. We are very at the bench of southern Bug River. And we have good healthcare infrastructure. We have good family medicine. In these conditions of pandemic, We proved that our family medicine is rather capable. We have the swimming pool, we have good natural parks. That is our strategy, our local strategy provides for hospitality to those who would like to come to our local community. This is a possibility for those who may come to work from Mykolaiv region. We are safe and flourishing environment. We are a good environment for life. We offer good education for children, social sphere, medical sphere, and good and safe environment. Thank you for this question. This was a good opportunity for me to advertise for my local community. Thank you for your promotion. Let us think how to promote your local community and think about investments and how to preserve the optimistic attitudes, how to ensure sustainable development. We have another good example from Mykolaiv region, from our partners in DOBRE program. We have Yulia Bolgag, deputy head of the Galitsinevska amalgamated community. How do you manage to support your local businesses? Maybe you have initiatives which you would offer to the colleagues.
Thank you for this opportunity to take part in this press conference. I noted the points that were discussed about the development of tourism, including rural tourism. I would like to share with you about our activities, and I hope that our positive experience will be of use for other communities. At the moment in our community, we've created online community in Viber to promote the products of local producers. This platform was created by the village council. When quarantine was introduced, we had to respond quickly. To support SMEs, we've created a platform. Now we have more than 200 participants. In our community, there are a lot of entrepreneurs. Our community is near Mykolaiv city, about 15 kilometers away. So all the entrepreneurs, they were working in the market of Mykolaiv. Now the markets are closed and transportation is stopped. We had to search for other opportunities to support our business. And this community was created. For this, we placed information on our official page in Facebook, also on the site of the community, and also information was provided from people to people. Those who used this opportunity, they started to provide this information to the members of the community, and thus new participants added to the platform. During this time, more than 800 announcements were published. This is about selling fruit, vegetables, dairy products. Also, there were requests, about 20 requests from people for different products. Half of requests were provided with answers at once. Some requests remained without answer. This is about rent. This is connected with the fact that in our community there is lack of such opportunities. Also, this platform becomes additional instrument for different types of announcements, including, for example, local snail farm. This platform also is a good instrument for additional announcements. For example, local snail farm provided announcement concerning additional employment. Also about development of the territory. During quarantine, there were some announcements on this about moderation of the platform and its further development. I would like to say that there are no special conditions on this. Do you hear me? There is some delay. Maybe you should turn off the video, but now we have okay connection. When we launched this platform, there were no special conditions on publication, but as moderator, I saw that some sent non-essential information, non-essential photos. So we asked to send one photo and a short description and contacts. This was done in order not to overload the platform, not to provide spam, to be useful for our clients. Also, this community should be placed on the site. There should be proper divisions because this platform is being developed, and we see that among hundreds of announcements, it is difficult to find some requests. That's why if we have proper site, we will do it through a proper search, and it will be easier to use this instrument. And ideally, based on this platform, we will be able to have new entrepreneurs that will develop this platform further, not as volunteers, but as businessmen. And we will be glad if they are registered in our community. This will be additional proceeds to the budget through taxes. I would like to demonstrate how we provided these announcements. Do you see them? No, we do not. Now we see it. On the site, we placed this information. We called it Buy in Community. And there are colleagues from other communities. You may see how it works. You may follow the link and you see the instruction in order that people understand how it works. I would like to demonstrate how it works, how to use this platform, how this platform looks. Do you see it? Maybe we have some downloading, but we do not see anything, just black screen. Here you may see 219 participants. Then there is an announcement for the new participants. Unfortunately, we do not see it. There is no picture. You may provide this information to us and we will add it to our materials, and then our viewers will be able to see this material. Also, there is an announcement on our page. We do not see it. Okay. So if you need additional information, if you would like to know how it all works, please, you may contact us. You may phone us or write to us, and we will be glad to be useful for you. Victor Bandaruk asks whether you have an administrator of your platform. At the moment, I am a moderator of this platform. Please tell us about how you are going to support your potential new entrepreneurs. Does your community think about it, about the incentives for this? If we are speaking about the instrument I've mentioned today, we'd like to provide advertisement on the site of the community. We have a separate division on this on our site. Maybe we will advertise our entrepreneurs and we will help them to promote their products. And also, we will gladly join additional programs. There are a lot of them now because of the situation in the world. And we also monitor grant opportunities. We are interested in the development of social entrepreneurship in our community. We follow this information. We are open for entrepreneurs, for cooperation, for any type of discussions and cooperation. Thank you very much for these practical recommendations. They may be of use for our colleagues from other communities. Please stay with us. And now we go to Latvia. I give the floor to our next speaker, Yanis Vilties, Mayor of Latvia City, Latvia. Do you hear us? We thank you for being with us. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for your participation in our events. This is the second time we are speaking with you, and we are speaking about what changed for entrepreneurs during quarantine and how local government may support entrepreneurship. So we welcome you from Liepāja city, and I wish you all good health. For 1.5 months, we have this emergency situation in Latvia concerning coronavirus. So what we did in Latvia and what we've done in Latvia, maybe this was right, because we have not many cases. In 1.5 months, we have about 800 people who fell ill, and 12 people died. Those who died, these were people of elderly. These were elderly people, and they had additional diseases, and others. Their disease was in a light form. They all now at home. So what are the consequences of the situation in Latvia, including in Liepa? We feel that unemployment is on the rise. Before, we had less than 5% of unemployment before the situation, and now during this 1.5 months, it rose 6.5%, and we see that it will grow till the beginning of summer. About our actions, what we do, we have two types of support. First, this is support, urgent support, social support. So this is food stamps for people who need this assistance. So 200 euros per family and 45 per person. So, and also additional financial support, living minimum income, and this is additional help for people. Also for students. In Latvia, you know that the schools are closed. Only kindergartens are working. Out of 25 kindergartens in Liepa city, today only 4 are in operation. What we see, last week we had 5% of children who attended kindergarten. Today, this is about 10% of children. And we are planning to open 2 more kindergartens in order to have smaller groups, in order not to have many children in one group. We provide support for students, school children who now study at home. Before they were able to get free dinner at school. Now we provide food to them for this period. We bring food to schools, and then schools distribute this food to children. So this is urgent help. And what we may do in order to revive the economy, in order that it was going in the right direction. The main problems, as I've heard, this is tourism, as you have it, and sports and culture and everything that is connected with the business and culture, all the business. About the state provides support during this period of shutdown. There are companies, there are good companies that pay taxes, and the state supports such companies and provides monetary support. Maximum €700 per person, and taxes are, this sum is exempt from taxes. We have negotiation with the state, and we say that only big companies got this support, and we reached situation when small companies also get this support, and self-employed now, due to our effort, also get this support. So first it was provided, they provide only 150, and now they say that this debt may be up to 1,000, because this debt is connected with this difficult time, not because people do not want to pay. So we may deal with these things together with the state. About local government and what it does, we had an EU project, and we plan to implement it this year, and next year, and the year before the next. So this project is for 3 years, and we are trying to implement this project this year. Because there is a problem with business in Latvia this year, and we will try to work more and implement this project exactly during this year. We have co-financing for SMEs projects, and we provide this help every year. And this year we've decided to give this money to tourism, in order that they be able to survive during this time, in order that they be able to find new targets for tourism, new projects, to propose to people something interesting to propose. Also, traditional cultural projects, we've broadened some of them. We provide support to culture and sports. In concert halls, we have concerts, but without audience. We help. We have a very beautiful hall, concert hall. People watch these concerts from their computers and TV sets, and all the family may watch together, and a small sum of money is paid for this. We see that during the summer we won't have big festivals like we did it before. Last summer we had concerts, festivals. In Liepa sometimes more than 30,000 tourists came for the concert. This year we won't have this. And maybe we will have small concerts and festivals for 100 audience. Not only in premises, maybe it will be on the beach, in open air, on open and what we have the opportunity to hold these events on the beach. So also about the laws, about the distancing, but also we allowed people to walk, to go by bike, to do sports. And this helps to stay healthy. And I believe that good result is provided by something reasonable. People mentally, psychologically, they should be able to deal with the situation, because otherwise people just go crazy in their houses. So we hope that here in Latvia and in Ukraine also you will be able to live through this period. And thank you for your optimism that you've shared with us. And we hope that we'll be able to easily pass through this time. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Oh, well, now I would like to invite to the microphone Ms. Katarina Kabaits, head of the International Relations Department from Marifyanevska Local Amalgamated Community from Kharkiv Oblast. I have a question for you. What are sources for funding business support centers in local communities? I think it's a proper question to you to ask. Would you please describe about your local business support center and what are sources for funding this center, and how do you organize it in general? Perhaps it's rather difficult to speak at the end of the conference, but it was very interesting to follow the conference. If you allow me, I will answer the question at the end of my presentation. At the very beginning, I would like to state that we amalgamated as a community in 2016, and since that time, Marifyanska amalgamated community is partner in the DOBRE program.
Спочатку рішення виконавчого комітету було створено координаційну раду з питань місцевого економічного розвитку. До складу ради увійшли представники влади, бізнесу та інститутів громадянського суспільства, які розташовані на території громади. Саме координаційною радою було розроблено програму місцевого економічного розвитку та план заходів Марифянської громади. І саме одним з проєктів, які увійшли до плану заходів, став проєкт створення Центру розвитку бізнесу, який має доволі цікаву назву «Цербер» на території громади. Загальна вартість проєкту склала 1 014 999 гривень, з яких сума грантових коштів від програми «Добре» склала 687 900 гривень та кошти міського бюджету 327 099 гривень. Наступний слайд, будь ласка. Так, добре. Наш центр розвитку бізнесу знаходиться на 3-му поверсі Центру надання адміністративних послуг. Його площа складає 318,65 метрів квадратних, в яких площа саме конференц-залу, в якому комунікує бізнес, складає 109,80 метрів квадратних. За кошти гранту та за кошти міського бюджету було закуплено необхідні меблі, мобільні стільці, столи, було закуплено техніку для облаштування Центру розвитку бізнес-середовища, професійне обладнання, яке необхідне для проведення різноманітних заходів. Також було закуплено і встановлено ліцензійне програмне забезпечення для того, щоб представники молодіжної ради Маріфянської громади, яка функціонує у нас активно, могли проходити навчання.
Also, we have good equipment for local trainings and it was a separate item of our work to master how to operate that equipment. We offered special training for people. Economic life is the basis for local community development and when launching new businesses, local people they need support and promotion and also investments. We call this business center Cerber. You may refer to Cerber from the Greek mythology. We believe that promotion, development, and investments, the three heads of the hound, of the mythological hound, are crucial for business development. Thus, one of our goals is development of entrepreneurship in our local community, formation and development of business attitude, and to ruin a stereotype that money is bad and that old entrepreneurs, they are murky people. And we have opened our business center in January 2020, and of course we planned for establishment of business association, business incubator, legal aid to our participants, business education services, financial literacy academy, so-called advisory center on taxation and information about taxes, the service expert case, and business call center, which will be free service for our local entrepreneurs, and which will be paid service for the neighboring communities. Comprised the whole range of the business needs, including business development and legal aid. Of course, this list of services will be influenced by the situation, and it will be amended or cut down. After introduction of quarantine or before introduction of quarantine, we had launched our training programs, etc. But of course, now we can not do this. That's why we raised the idea to launch an information project for our center, for our entrepreneurs. It is called Digest of Changes during COVID-19 pandemic. And we have produced 5 podcasts about changes and amendments to tax legislation, podcast about DIA state portal, introduction and explanation how to work online, amendments to the procurement legislation, and other useful information for the entrepreneurs. When we produced those podcasts, we invited the local authorities, experts, who explained and commented on the content. This production of those podcasts actually did not require any additional financial resources. Actually, people did that on their own applications, on their own appliances and devices. And as of now, we have 4 podcasts ready. And we have seen that there was 716 reviews of those podcasts, 34 reposts, and 7 feedback notices from the stakeholders. And we seek very much for their opinion and feedback from the businesses. That is what we can do in the quarantine conditions. The next step will be to continue with similar projects even after quarantine. At the very beginning, when I've heard this question, it is very important to decide at which stage you start to look for such financial support. If you start to look for it at the stage when the refurbishment is done, it is you may apply for consultancy and training services and programs from donors. And currently, we want to make we want to offer our space for education events and training to potential clients. What is the what is your team and how many team members do you have? We are not independent legal entity by now. Here we use actually that experts whom we have in the Center of Administrative Services. Thus, we do not have a separate team for the business center. Actually, we have lawyers, we have experts in investments activity, which are part of the Administrative Services Center, and you do not need any additional staff for the business center to deliver consultancy service. Let us continue our press conference. Now, I would like to invite Vladimir Pribilich, Mayor of Kachevia, Vice President of the Association of Municipalities and Cities in Slovenia.
Thank you so much for joining in. It's a great pleasure that you are here with us, and we are grateful for your long-awaited speech. And I hope that you get to know more on how Ukrainian colleagues have been dealing with the economic impacts of the pandemic. And could you? Sorry, can you hear us? Yeah. So my question to you is...
Yes, I do, yeah.
Could you please tell us what your municipality decided to do to support local business during and after the lockdown? Please.
Yes, thank you very much. First, for having me and giving me opportunity to speak in front of this important audience. I'm sending you best regards from Slovenia. I'm representing the largest municipality in Slovenia. This covers 555 square kilometers and has approximately 16,000 of inhabitants. We are located to the south of Slovenia, nearby Croatia borderline. And as you know, there is a proverb: every country has its south. This goes also for Slovenia. So the southern part of Slovenia is, let's say, less developed than the other areas in our country. The municipal budget today is 22 million euro, and we have 3 primary schools, so one kindergarten, and so on. But what is important to know is that in our area, the unemployment rate was quite high, was approximately 60%. Nowadays, we downloaded or decreased this by only at the level of 10%. So there was a lot of things that we did in the meantime. Well, when we talk about the municipality itself, I'm happy to declare that a great progress was made. One of them was to stimulate the foreign investments in our municipality. One really important project that was really successful is the project bringing in Slovenia the largest robot production company in the world that will create a robot production center in our municipality named Yaskawa from Japan. How we did it is a very long story. I don't have time to explain that, but this is only to understand why and how municipalities can do something in the area to be attractive for investments. And this was one case. But since we today talk about the COVID issues, I would like to emphasize more on that. The situation in Slovenia is that we have only 1,330 cases confirmed. In our municipality, 5 cases. This is not much, but why this was possible? Because we introduced a very extensive testing program. So we tested a lot of people just to the information who may be infected, and with this strategy, a lot of people were put in quarantine before they were in position to share So when we talk about the COVID crisis, something is clear, that it's not only the crisis for the population from a social point of view or even psychological point of view, but it has a lot to do with the businesses. Of course, we had to lock down a lot of, let's say, restaurants, a lot of cafes, and so on and so on. But we did not lock down the production lines. Why was this possible? Because we worked together with our business partners in our municipality over the civil protection headquarters that was organized and led by municipality. We provided them guidance, we provided them some protection gear. So we did everything that is possible in order not to stop the production. Why? Because the losses are quite substantial, but it's not only the losses, it's the losing the businesses to our Western partners. As you may know, Slovenia
ми
is
не можемо
heavily
зупинити свій
export-oriented.
бізнес.
So
Ми
majority
дуже
what
експортно
produced in Slovenia
орієнтована
goes to European
країна,
markets,
і
especially in
наша
Kochevia, over
продукція
90%.
в
Whatever we
Kochevia
produce in our municipality goes preliminary in Germany, Austria, and other countries, members of the European Union. So it was important not to lose the partners, and this is how we tried to maintain the production lines open, also within the crisis situation. But for the others, we intervened as municipality by two measurements. The first one was that municipality itself decided for the so-called remission of the rents. So we decreased the so-called fixed costs of those restaurants or cafes and so on that are still with these institutions. So this is something that we contributed directly from our budget, municipal budget. And the other one was how we decreased the fixed cost comparing to communal infrastructure. This goes with the waste management and goes with the water supply system and stuff like that. So this is owned by municipality itself. We have, for these purposes, organized municipal businesses. And since we are the owners of these businesses, we are in position also to help directly to certain business partners in our local environment in order to downsize or, let's say, diminish the costs that has to be paid also in the times of the recession or in times of the COVID-19 crisis. What is important to know is that we put together a so-called remission or progression remission. So if there was a case that somebody was closed down for the entire period, they will pay only 30% of the costs and then progressively how long somebody was locked down. So if somebody wasn't locked down, he or she will pay the full cost. If of the waste management or water supply and so on, if somebody was locked down for the whole period, only 30%, because the fixed costs still exist and we cannot go over that. For this kind of purposes, we allocated within municipality approximately 50,000 euro that were distributed and will be distributed over time to cover the losses of the companies, of course, who will not get the income. But why was this important? Because it's not only the costs itself, is the message that we wanted to send to our business partners in our local administration so that they're not left behind, that we would like to share their problem and we still try to find a solution for them. But moreover, what we did is the changes within the investments plan of our municipality. Why? Because we did very extensively research among the business partners in our municipality. Over 140 people were interviewed and asked, what do you expect from us as a municipality to do and to help you? And they emphasized it's not so important that you will give us some subsidies or some money to compensate the fixed cost that we have to pay. More importantly for them was that we as municipality should accelerate the investment program that we have. Why? Because if we accelerate investments in our environment, there will be more opportunity for every business partners to earn the money instead of giving them the money. So it was not so much on the question how or how much can we give them, but what kind of opportunities may we enable them for this kind of purposes. And on that, on this analysis, we already did a change of budget, and we allocated additional resources to investments. You have here only one case. It was just opened 3 weeks ago, and we began to build a business incubator because this is really important in our environment, since we are hosting an HQ of the robot production facility. So they would like to, find new possibilities for further collaboration, and having a business incubator in Kuchevia, in our municipality, was important thing. Of course, it's not. This is only one case. This is the investment of approximately 2 million euro, but we also allocated additional funds that will be available for any kind of smaller enterprises also within our municipality to contest and to get a possibility to earn money instead being compensated by municipalities. So with this, we're trying to change the understanding, because in some cases in Slovenia, many municipalities decided not for this strategy. They decided for the strategy of direct help. For this direct help, they changed this taxation policy in municipalities, what meant that you will not be in position to get money in for your budget purposes, but you are giving this money away to help the business entrepreneurs or to help some businesses on the longer term. We are just the opposite understanding, and this is instead of giving taxes away because this is your basics for your budget, we decided to collect the taxes even in the crisis situation, even if we have to remind or we have to reduce some of the taxes, we still are collecting them because we understand that we as municipality have to largely contribute to the investment cycle that should be put into existence after the COVID-19 crisis we have in our municipality. I believe this was the right strategy. Of course, it's too early today to evaluate the strategy, but I can tell you that by this day, I think that for our businesses, this was quite really positive, understood and positively welcomed, and they are really happy for us to invest more, even in the crisis situation. So it's more, let's say, Keynesian understanding of economics. So it's not that you are going to reduce the investment in the crisis situation, but increase investments in the crisis situation. So this is the short story of our municipality. Of course, I'm here for any kind of questions you may have, or if these questions are not be answered right now, I can send my answers over the email. Thank you for having me. It was my honor to be with you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prebilic, for bringing new insights driven from your experience of your municipality, and we are very grateful to you for speaking at our conference. And yes, if we would receive questions from our online audience, we will address it to you. So you can give your answers to that, and also maybe publish your presentation. We would like to add it to all the follow-up materials after the conference. So thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. So thanks once again. And we will continue. Переходимо зараз до нашої наступної.
Now our next speaker, Ilona Kazar. A short remark. Ilona will speak about it in more detail. This is not about support of power, but also NGOs may support local entrepreneurs. Ilona is head of Media Center NGO Teribovля Consolidated Community of Ternopil Oblast. As I know, Media Center is working online for 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were able to get new equipment and to broaden the spectrum of services that you provide. And you also provide services to private sector. Ilona, please tell us in more detail how you support local business. Do you hear me? Yes. First, I would like to thank all the organizers for this modern, interesting format. Maybe we would meet in some hall in Kiev, but in this interesting life situation, we search for new ways how to communicate. And I'm really grateful to organizers. This is really a high level of organization. Greetings from Terebryanska Consolidated Community. In Terebryanska community, we are working as a media center. We are NGO. We elaborated our internet means, and we have been working for 7 years. We have office book and Instagram, a site, news site, and in October last year, we came to conclusion that we should broaden our activity and to create a newsroom, and we should not wait others to speak about our community. We decided to create our newsroom to inform about our community. We have such a newsroom, and due to DOBRE program, we did it. We joined DOBRE program, and we got help, and we have a newsroom. We have equipment for this room. We broadcast live. Ukraine Crisis Media Center helped us. We thank all experts of Ukraine Crisis Media Center for their support. Also, we have a co-working working facilities for our media experts, photographers, journalists, cameramen. Also, we are joined by people who do not have proper education or experience in this area. For example, a surgeon may become an anchor for the program concerning health. And also, we provide information not only about our community, also we provide information about functioning of business and entrepreneurs and organizations in the territory of our community. We have, for example, a news, some news about opening of some business, some office, some novelty in business. We write about this news. Due to technical support, we have, due to DOBRE program, we launched new formats. We shoot video clips for entrepreneurs. We have online advertisement, a new type of it. And the quality of photos should be really high, and photographers are employed for this. And we bring entrepreneurs in online, and we are trying to speak about entrepreneurs online. In mid-March, this work stopped. We now work remotely, and in our community we have a platform to provide distance learning for those who graduate this year, and this was based on our platform. We used our studio to provide this video shooting. Using this online platform we have, and before it was difficult for entrepreneurs to go online. They believed that this is just loss of time. They didn't consider it as necessary because they had some urgent matters to attend to. And for example, pages on social media, they didn't have time for this before. The situation changed. Markets were closed, all the shops were closed, the work of the city was paralyzed, and there was a pause, and people experienced a shock, and then there was adaptation, and there was a crisis point. People stayed home, they didn't know what to do, and during this period we've met those entrepreneurs who work in the community, and we communicated with them through our online platform. And we saw that entrepreneurs went to Instagram, they created their own pages, and now we are able to communicate with them through our main page of our city, and we have news there and other materials about our community, and we advertise their pages. They place information about their products, and we also wrote a lot about entrepreneurs, whether they have delivery service, also about catering services that deliver food, also contacts, type of food that is delivered by some restaurants, and also schedule of the work of organizations, of banks. We wrote about this. One more important area of our work, we paid a lot of attention to entrepreneurs who didn't feel despair because of the closure of shops. They expressed their wish to help, and they asked us how they can help, where they can bring masks, where they can buy disinfectants and masks, and they helped us. Someone created these masks by themselves, and these entrepreneurs, we wrote about these entrepreneurs. We wrote articles about such entrepreneurs in order to advertise them. And we analyzed the instruments that we have, and I would like to focus more on such a thing, and I would like to advise this to you, even to small communities. You should have a group on Facebook. There are pages of official organizations, of communities, of entrepreneurs, but there is an instrument, such an instrument as group. In our group, we have 20 more than 25,000 participants. Our group is called Terebovlia News and Announcements. Territorially, this group covers 4 communities in the territory of our region. Our group was created in April 2017, and we've developed it as an open platform for advertisement, for announcements. But we've understood that it became really important for survival, because when markets closed, communication between sellers and buyers stopped. All communication was brought to this Facebook group, and this group became a communal flat, a virtual market in our community. It is so active. A bit of statistics in order to understand the situation. When quarantine was introduced, we have 4,645 announcements were provided, and more than 2,000 new participants added to the group. And out of 25,000 participants, 21,000 are active. So entrepreneurs, they go there and provide information about their products. And this is the main. And the majority of announcements, this was about seeds, about flowers, dairy products, poultry, meat of different type, selling of clothes and footwear, and flowers, dairy products. How to find a buyer for these products? People placed their announcements, and right at once there were about 100 of proposals where they can sell it, and delivery also was proposed, and they provided all this information in this group. And also buyers photoed, for example, footwear, and they provided information about it on the site with all the assortment they have. And people order, for example, size, color, footwear, and they organize a delivery. Also about information about furniture, shops, provide information about wallpaper, some materials for crafts, for bakery. Also repair for household appliances, and also people were asked what they need, what products they need. For example, where to buy dairy products or diapers, and the people got this information at once. So advice for entrepreneurs: to have their own page on Facebook, to provide information about their products, to have photos of their products there, and to search such local communities where you may place your announcement, and to have reference to your page. So we have 1 or 2 announcements a day by our participant. And now, when a person, a resident, go on Facebook, the person will see what advertisements appear in the group. So now we have a platform that is supported by the network, by social network, and there is a need of people to have such a unified platform. Who may create such a group? We as media persons, we may do this. In your communities, community itself may do it and moderate such a platform. Maybe some entrepreneurs would agree to create such a platform using our own experience, having our instruments. We recommend to you to create such platforms. About statistics, during quarantine, activity of the group increased 30%. So for people, this became really important during this period. Now announcements are provided about rent and workplaces. Maybe this is connected with the fact that market changed, and maybe some vacant places and premises for rent appear due to changes in the market. Please be brief. We are out of time. So maybe a final comment from you. So we can create such platforms, and the decision, we got information today that community is ready to provide tax vacations, and also there will be a safe territory for selling of seeds, of poultry. Also, entrepreneurs also help each other. They decrease rent twice, for example. One more remark about online resources. I recommend to search for market in UA. Our specialists developed such a platform for everyone who works in Ukraine. It unites all the oblasts, and all entrepreneurs will be able to place their advertisements on this platform. Thank you very much for your experience. Thank you for your educational role in your community and for support of entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for joining our discussion. So now I would like to give the floor for final remarks to our speakers, those speakers who are still with us. So please, if you would like to provide final comments, please, you are welcome. Please raise your hands if you would like to provide some comments. We have the opportunity via Zoom to see who wants to provide final comments. I would like to call on you, all those who listened and heard these proposals about the activities that help to overcome this economic crisis in condition of quarantine. You all should be proactive. This is one what I wanted to say from myself and our RegionNet network. You should not wait for the end of the crisis. You should try to find new segments of the market for economic development. You should try to find new opportunities even today. Thank you, Alexander. Sergei Podnagilny, I thought that you wanted to add something about tourism. Using this opportunity, I would like to say that if we are speaking about tourism, we should not be limited by our own community, because there is a specific logic of tourism. It goes out administrative borders of the community. You should think about the projects, and foreign experience shows that there should be public and private partnership, and there may be also intermunicipal cooperation. I would advise to think about this format, because it will allow to use funds in an optimum way, and maybe not 100% of support. They may provide a share, and there is logic in this. And I wish optimism to all of you, and I believe that during 2 or 3 next years we should use the situation, and we should use the situation to our own benefit. Thank you, Sergei. Also, Robert Żarkowski. Robert, one more comment. Thank you very much. I would like to speak about all these inspiring and creative stories, how to support local business, and I'm really grateful for this communication with you. I would like to thank all our speakers who joined our press conference for your fruitful discussions and advice, and we would like to thank local government bodies, both Ukrainian and foreign, that they shared their practical experience that may become example for hundreds of other communities. I would like to thank our partners, ICMA Europe, Foundation of Local Democracy Development International, and You Lead Europe. And I would like to thank all of you, dear audience, for your questions, for spreading our video. I would like to remind to you that our program will be on UCMC and DOBRE platforms, and we will publish in the nearest future the materials of our press conference, and we invite you to subscribe to our page. Thank you very much. Till the next time, goodbye.